Hello and welcome to Profiles
Okay,
in Risk.
cool.
This is your host, Tony Cañas, and today I have with me Andrew Martin, CEO at DynaRisk. Andrew, thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
Tony, thank you very much for having me. It's going great. It's a little bit late.
I,
I'm here
I,
in the
I
UK.
always
It's 10 o'clock at night, but thankfully
I,
the
I
whole
always
family.
feel bad with
Go ahead.
with guests on the other side of the world because the basic Calendly link that I use to schedule recordings basically is set up for 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern, which works perfectly for me, kind of at the end of my workday. But for you guys, it often ends up like London's probably not too bad, but yeah, I've had people that are like 2 a.m. By the way, for the listeners, if you are an insurtech abroad, uh, go out of your way to ask for the link that allows different timing because I do have a link for that. Uh, but I appreciate your commitment to doing this at 10 p.m. your time.
Absolutely. It's some of the this is some of the most productive time actually. Kids are in
Okay,
bed,
fantastic. And this is
no
barely work.
distractions, great time to
Like
get work done.
I am a really easygoing, fun interview. So we always
Yes.
give the guest a chance
Yes.
to give the elevator pitch. What is DynaRisk?
So we started off as a cyber intelligence company. We've infiltrated hacker groups all over the world. We gather up their data. We alert, companies or individuals if their information's been shared by hackers, and that turned into three different things that we do. So we do risk management tools for consumers, cyber risk management tools for small to medium-sized businesses, and then portfolio monitoring solutions for insurers, reinsurers, and MGAs to help improve their
Okay.
loss ratios.
Okay. So I did notice on your LinkedIn that you've been running DynaRisk for 7 years, which is a lifetime in startup world and in insurtech world. So it makes sense. It started in the intelligence side, cyber intelligence side. When did it transition from just intelligence to risk management tools and kind of the other things that you do today?
So originally, when we were out pitching our ideas for the company back in 2016, when I founded the company, I used to work in the banking and financial services sector back in the corporate days, and I thought, oh, this service is going to be great, and the banks that I used to work for are all going to buy it, and they're going to roll this technology out to millions of their customers, and I'm going to get to retire early. But of course, it never works out that way. And we got great pilots with these very large banks, focus groups, pilot number two, pilot number three, and it was just a very hard slog. And we started talking to these insurance companies, and they said, "Wow, you guys have these risk management tools for consumers and SMBs. Yeah, we'd love to embed that in our cyber insurance products or in our assistance products." And they were then saying, "So, how much? When can I write you a check?" And it was just so totally different than we had experienced before. And that's when we realized, aha, we now have the coveted product market fit, where we now know the best
That is
market
so
for
interesting
our tools to get
because
sold into.
like 95% of the conversations I have, the biggest complaint is, and especially once we're not recording, right? Like kind of like over a beer at InsurTech Connect kind of thing. The number one complaint is how slow insurance companies are at bringing anything in. So it's super interesting that at least in the UK, compared to banks, insurance companies are significantly more open-minded, or maybe just significantly more in pain when it comes to cyber.
And I think it's a little bit of both of those things. Ultimately, the tools that we were selling into banks, it was just another cost, right? They have lots of tools they're paying lots of money for. Here's another one. Where is it in their list of priorities? it might be priority number 3. But unless you're priority number 1 or 2, you're not going to get deployed. Whereas when we were going into the insurance market, ultimately our tool is helping protect end users, SMBs, consumers, or whole portfolios of companies from getting hacked. But ultimately, it was an easy way to demonstrate how the insurance companies can save money, can improve loss ratios, increase engagement with customers. And at the end of the day, that means an increase of revenue. And in the insurance business, of course, people are always looking for new ways to increase revenue, differentiate themselves from competitors. And so as soon as we started talking a revenue growth story instead of just a plain old cost center story,
Okay, and
the
I,
dynamic
as you were
totally
talking about it,
changed.
I was thinking that if it's part of the cyber product, you're improving my loss ratio, right? The bank doesn't have a loss ratio, right? That's just not their business. They're not protecting. So yeah, okay, it makes sense.
Exactly.
Okay, so the let's kind of start with the third one, with portfolio management to improve loss ratios for MGAs and carriers, because that's the bulk of our listenership. Uh, so how does it work? Is it only for carriers that have a cyber product, and how does it work?
Happy to cover that off.
Okay,
I should also mention it's also very relevant to brokers. We'll talk about the loss ratio
absolutely.
element, but I also want to talk about the broker element, because what we've then realized is the tools end up being used for lead generation, which is very exciting,
How,
very very exciting,
no, let's
to
start
help
there.
brokers sell more policies. But we can
Does it end up
touch on that in a
doing lead
second.
generation for brokers?
Okay, well, if you're a broker calling on a client to sell them cyber insurance, cyber is a risk you can't see, right? You can't imagine your premises or whatever being broken into by bad guys from Eastern Europe,
Mm-hmm.
like you could imagine a fire or a flood or someone suing you for doing something you shouldn't have been doing. So some businesses really struggle to buy cyber insurance because they don't see the need for it. Well, we've got a data set of 1.4 billion pieces of what we call hacker chatter. This is where hackers are actively talking about breaking into companies. And so for brokers going off and calling on a client, before they go talk to their client, they'll run a check of our data. We'll tell them about some not very good things that are transpiring on that client. And when they go and have that meeting about the need for cyber insurance, instead of it being a sales pitch of, hello, company director, we think it's a good idea you buy cyber insurance because you read in the news that some large corporate got hacked last week. That business owner says, that doesn't matter to me. I'm not a major multinational bank. I don't need to worry about state-sponsored hacking from Eastern Europe or from Asia. Who's going to break into my 50-person auto body repair shop or 1,000-person wealth management company? But when our clients take a report with our data that says, here's a hacker who was trying to break into your business 2 weeks ago using this particular method, and here's how it worked. The, again, the conversation completely changes. It goes from a very nebulous, airy-fairy risk to, wow, this is in the right here, right now. Someone was knocking on our
That is
door.
very, very, very
Maybe I should be
interesting.
considering cyber insurance.
Okay, okay. So for brokers, how how do they get access? How is it priced? And I'm assuming that they do have other uses for it other than just being able to prove to their prospects that they are under attack.
So on the how does the commercial model work front, we do scanning in bulk, right? So we have customers who will do, one-off scans of customers. Hey, I'm going to go speak to these 5 companies this week. I'm going to go scan those 5 companies. But Where it really shines is where we look at whole portfolios of companies. So a broker would upload 1,000 companies who quoted with them last year, last month, whatever. Out of those 1,000 companies, let's say 400 of them have something that's high risk, something that could be actioned. They've got a database which is hanging off the internet somewhere. They've got some vulnerabilities which haven't been fixed. They've got some hacker chatter or something going on about them. And so if you're the broker and you want to have the best use of your time, you're not going to target the 60% of those companies who don't really have
Hmm.
a significant risk profile, because that's going to be a wasted conversation. So you're going to go focus in on those 400 companies, let's say. And then of those companies, maybe only 20% of those ones have had something really, really bad happen to them, or potentially really bad happen to them. So all of a sudden you go from, here's the 1,000 companies that I could pitch cyber to, but my success rate would be extremely low, to here's my very targeted list of 100 companies that if I can't sell cyber to these companies, there's a bigger problem here. So it's about reducing the need for the manual effort, increasing the pace of the sales, and ultimately demonstrating value for that customer. So you want to go and sell them a solution, but you also want to educate them, bring them along, help them manage their risks, and go, listen, this has been happening, but if you went and fixed these two or three things, your risk profile would improve tremendously. On the how does it work? It's a cloud-based app. Log in, type in the name of a company, run a scan, or upload 100 companies, run a scan. Very, very simple. On how is it priced? We price on how many companies are you scanning, how frequently are you scanning those companies, and what level of data access do you need. So some brokers might just say, I just want a very quick and dirty high-level report. Other brokers might say, give me everything. I want to know everything that you have on these particular issues for these customers. And so we can dial up and dial down that
And
price
it sounds like it's
point
flexible
depending on
enough
the
that
features that
that
people are looking
I
for.
don't need to convince my entire office to do it. If I want to do it myself as a broker in the office, I could probably, right, because you don't need access to our agent management system or anything like that's going to require corporate permission.
We have all of all of those things you mentioned. We have all those kinds of different use cases. So we have, individual brokers. We've got the team of brokers that focus on a particular line of business. We we might have a whole office of people running the tool. Yes, we do plugins with agency management systems via an API if you want to go down that route. Absolutely. But the beauty of it is it's very flexible. It's software, so we can do one, 100, 1,000.
Okay.
The
Okay.
sky's the limit.
Any great customer success stories from brokers? Like, has any broker come back and shared numbers? My hit ratio has gone from 5% to 12% thanks to you guys, kind of thing.
So one broker we worked with was not doing very much cyber at all. It was an education issue they were having with their customers, and they went from doing, onesie twosie quotes, one or two a week, to hundreds once they could make the connection for why this risk is real for their customers. We've got another company who another brokerage firm. They sell the cyber insurance, but they also want to sell additional services on top of that, cybersecurity services, endpoint protection software, backup systems, etc. So they want to increase the share of wallet that they're earning from their clients. And before they weren't doing very many sales of those types of offering at all. And now that's a core component of their revenue generation for 2023. And it's because you can actually link up the issue that the company has with a potential solution for that company. So, every use case is a little bit different. Where there is a big gap in education and desire for cyber insurance, the kind of improvement our clients would see would be, many times two, three, 400% more quotes, bound policies, etc. Where clients are much more mature, they're looking to move the needle, not go to a totally different level. You could be seeing increases of 10, 20%, that sort of thing. You could be seeing an increased client retention of 5, 10, 15%. So it all really depends on where that broker is in that journey. And the same thing on the insurer MGA side. Some insurers and MGAs just getting started. It's a green field. Others very mature, just looking to move the needle a little bit. And hey, if I improve my loss ratio even by 3%, that would be a
Okay.
massive win.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah,
different for everybody.
that makes perfect sense to me. I would imagine, I've never been a broker, but I would imagine, just thinking of the majority of the brokers that I've met, again in the U.S. market, I've never worked the London market, but in the U.S. market, very few of them are going to like lead with cyber kind of thing, right? It's just not the world that they grew up in. So I can definitely see how having something like this can definitely have a huge effect. Like those like 400% increases definitely make a lot of sense if you just were not good at cyber before, which I'm guessing most brokers are not. Um, okay.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear any stories of how carriers or MGAs have been successful partnering with you guys.
So we work with a few carriers and
No
MGAs.
worries.
You'll have to appreciate. Again,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to give specific numbers for specific clients or anything like that. But I would just say that the MGAs and insurers we work with have, I would say, market leading loss ratios under 20% in some cases, and that's because they're doing a lot of the things that we're suggesting that they do. We're monitoring their portfolios. We're finding a number of things on their policyholders, and they go off and action those things. So again, it comes down to where are you in that journey. And if we just touch on the broker side a little bit, many insurers, MGAs, have these types of scanning tools. Coalition, Cowbell, Corvus, they all have some variation of a scan. We find there's significant gaps in what is offered by those types of companies, because at the end of the day, they are an insurance company first, not a cybersecurity company first. So a bit of a different ethos and where you focus your time, effort, and resources. We saw one of our clients did a scan of a bunch of companies with one scanning solution, and the results that came back for those companies were pretty good. Let's just say these companies were rated really good. Um, we took a look with our type of technology, our data sets, and our results really clashed with what this other scanning technology had found. So much so that that client is in the process of switching to us from the particular solution that they were using before. And there are lots of different reasons for that, and that kind of thing happens regularly, switching between vendors. And we also have other clients that use us in conjunction with those other tools. Some tools that have been built in-house, some tools bought by another third party. But a lot of clients, they don't always want to put their eggs all in one basket, so they get a couple of different perspectives on the risk, which we think is a great approach. Because even we would say, we would never suggest that we have 100% coverage of all the things that could be wrong with a company.
Okay.
That's an impossible claim to make.
What about the tools aimed at consumers? What do you guys offer on that side?
So we do an all-in-one suite of risk management tools for an end consumer, which encompasses dark web monitoring. We look for hackers trading in the person's personal information, vulnerability scanning of their devices. Uh, we check their home router to see if it's accessible remotely, and we do a lot of training and education. Um, you know, did you set privacy settings on LinkedIn? Are you using multi-factor authentication on your bank, on your email provider, on your uh, the website of the local school where your kids go? All the a lot of those schools have um, learning portals that kids log into where you can set this stuff up. So there's a lot of education involved, which is combined with those scanning capabilities. And what we're doing in that space is actually helping to create the new category of personal cyber insurance, which is kind of ID theft insurance version 2.0. ID theft insurance, not a very good reputation. Uh, the coverages offered, there are very high limits because the claims rates are exceptionally low. And so personal cyber insurance is trying to sort of change the paradigm on that product and bring a new product to market, which is a lot more valuable and
Okay,
engaging
so
compared to
personal cyber
ID theft
insurance.
products of
Okay.
previous years.
Uh, as of right now, is that currently available in the UK? Is it available in the States? Where's it available for now? Yeah.
The insurance coverage in particular, all over. Uh, Personal cyber insurance is available in the US, in Europe, in Asia, Africa. We're seeing some
Okay.
activity in Latin America, all over the place. One of our large public clients on the personal side is Chubb, and Chubb's been deploying personal cyber insurance in
Okay. Fantastic.
numerous geographies.
Awesome. Awesome. Anything coming down in the next few months that you are at liberty to disclose already? Any new features or anything new that coming up that you're ready to talk about?
Well, I would just say, we're constantly gathering vast amounts of data and intelligence, and for us, the issue is synthesizing it and being able to pull out really great insights out of that data. Cyber criminals are always doing their thing. There will always be vulnerabilities in people's systems. It's the fact of life. You just got to be able to manage it effectively. So we don't see a lot of groundbreakingly different stuff. Chat GPT, of course, is adding a new layer of challenge to the cyber threat landscape, but it's also not a quantum leap forward in terms of hacker capabilities. So, what we see, which is particularly exciting, is being able to predict a lot of these potential claims in advance, where we see, 4 months beforehand, but 4 months before there was a claim, we saw cyber criminals trading in stolen VPN credentials for a company. Um, we were doing some work with another client just a couple of weeks ago. We had been commissioned to do some intelligence work for a service provider to a mid-market company. We had run some scans on this customer. We had looked at the sector that they were operating in and their kind of risk profile, and we outlined the 5 key risks that company would face. And timing is crazy. We were writing the report, and in the report we said, you're in a sector which is at risk of distributed denial of service attacks. Why? This is a manufacturing company in a country which is, providing military support to Ukraine. We have seen Russian cybercriminals call out that they are going to attack these types of companies in these countries. And as we were writing the report, getting ready to send it to the client, the, the client's website was hit with a distributed denial of service attack. And we had, in the Telegram chat group of this group, we had screenshots of the hackers talking about how they were taking down the website of this company. Which, of course, if you've been as I have, on the end of responding to these types of attacks, it's terrible. It's extremely stressful for everybody involved. It can be catastrophic to the business. And so, my sympathies go out to the company who was responding to this and all the people involved. But the timing was just incredible. And then when we delivered the report the next day, it was, you'll see on here, we specifically say you've got to enable these kinds of protections because this kind of thing is going to happen, and we're very sorry to say that we were right. And so now we've built up a great deal of goodwill, shall we say, with that client, and that's now opening up lots more possibilities. So to your point earlier about the insurance industry being very slow moving, it is very slow moving. However, when you hit the nail on the head and you deliver real value that can prove, wow, these guys, do what it is they say they're going to do, then you'll find that a lot of those conversations
That's a fantastic
can
story.
speed up.
Absolutely fantastic story. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been a very, very interesting conversation. You guys are doing some very interesting stuff. Again, thank you for coming today.
If I could, if anyone wants to check out some resources on some hints and tips for selling cyber insurance for brokers, or ways to improve loss ratios for carriers or MGAs, check out DynaRisk.com. We've got some educational content on there. And then if you want a free check of any prospects or insureds or anything like that, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. Go to our company website. We do scans for free.
Perfect. And on the website, I'm guessing it's under the resources section.
About it.
Okay, perfect. When this goes live, I will tag you on LinkedIn.
Yes,
I will
correct.
tag the company and DynaRisk.com. Click on resources. So pretty easy to find. Thank you. Same here.
Wonderful. Tony, thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure.